Welcome to Deb's Truth Journey. If this is your first time stopping by our channel, we encourage you to click the subscribe button and become a truth seeker with us. Now, let's get into today's. Hello, this is part 2 of Black by Purpose. It's very important that you watch part 1 first so you can really understand where we are. I can only do minimum review because I'm trying to stay within a 10-minute time crunch for each video. So I'll put a link down here for you to click on to go to part 1. Now let's get into part 2. So what is the answer to protecting living organisms from UV rays? That's where we left off on the last one with that answer. And the answer is a substance that is widely disseminated in the universe and in all living beings, a substance that is capable of absorbing visible and invisible light. And that substance is melanin. Melanin is described as a ubiquitous biological pigment found in bacteria, fungi, plants, animals, and interstellar space. It has a diverse range of ecological and biochemical described functions, including display, evasion, photoprotection, detoxification, and metal scavenging. Now, when I read that, as I said before, it's the word ubiquitous that stood out for me. I'm like, what is that? What does that mean? So dictionary.com defines it as existing or being everywhere at the same time, omnipresent. Now, when I hear omnipresent, I hear the Most High, the Creator, the Heavenly Father. That's the only time I've ever heard that word used, and it's always in reference to the Most High. So there's something very ethereal about this melanin. Okay, so now melanin is like kryptonite to ultraviolet rays. Just as we talked about in part 1, the ultraviolet rays are kryptonite to DNA. So melanin protects us from these ultraviolet rays. How melanin protects humans. Melanin pigments protect the skin from DNA damage by surrounding and thus guarding the nuclei keratinocytes. Now, we talked about also before that the nuclei, I have a clip here for it. Cells contain a nucleus. A nucleus contains a chromosome. Inside the chromosome are the DNA, and inside DNA is genes. Now, what the ultraviolet rays want to do is get to that nucleus so that it could affect the DNA. And DNA damage can cause a lot of different damages throughout the body. UV effects on lightly melanated and highly melanated skin. Now you see in one diagram, it's lightly, the top layer is the skin color. And it shows how deep UV rays can go. And it shows how they bounce off deeply melanated skin. This isn't about race. This is about the level of melanin that you have. So you can see how it protects. It's a super shield, is what I call it. Melanin is man's super shield. Some shields are stronger than others, but if you can tan, you produce melanin. Now we're going to talk about protection, how melanin, as we said, is in all living organisms. So we're going to briefly talk about how melanin affects other life forms. In fungi, melanin contributes to the ability of fungi to survive in harsh environments. In plants, melanin provides additional mechanical strength to seed shells, provides resistance to insects and pests due to its toxicity. Melanin in animals, now that's more than I'm saying, I'm just giving you an indication of what it is. And in animals, melanin provides counter shading that protects against ultraviolet radiation and aids in defense, camouflage, locomotion, and sensory perception. In birds, melanin allows the hardest working feathers to better resist wear and tear, causing them to be 4 to 9% more aerodynamic. Now you notice this bird in this picture. I thought this was extra interesting. Most birds have they have black tips. The tips of their wings are black. That's the melanin. And that allows them to be more aerodynamic. Pretty interesting. Now here's a little sidebar. Did you know that the polar bear skin is black? Interestingly, the polar bear's coat has no white pigment. In fact, a polar bear's skin is black and its hairs are hollow. They have a thick layer of body fat which keeps them warm while swimming, and a double layered coat that insulates them from the cold Arctic air. So you can see in this picture how you look down at the root, you can see the black. It's like somebody with blonde hair with dark roots, but the hairs are hollow. They're just reflecting the sun the snow. I thought that was very interesting. Okay, now let's move more into what melanin does in humans. Now again, if you can tan, you produce melanin. This is not a race issue. This is a human issue. In most people, UV rays activate a chemical in the skin called melanin. This is the skin's first defense against the sun. Melanin absorbs the dangerous UV rays that can do serious skin damage. This is the process that gives you a tan. Now, melanin acts as an antioxidant. Now, as always, I need to know what these words mean. So I found this description. Actually, I put together some pieces of some different things that I read so we can see in a whole little blurb here what it all does. Free radicals can cause damage to parts of cells, such as proteins, DNA, and cell membranes, by stealing their electrons through a process called oxidation. Melanin is a polymer able to donate or accept an electron. So melanin is equivalent to this green one. It can donate or accept it. If something has too many, it can take that extra. If something doesn't have enough, it can give one. It acts as an antioxidant, and it is able to neutralize free radicals by giving up some of their own electrons. In making this sacrifice, they act as a natural off switch for the free radicals. Now, what free radicals do is if they take from this purple one, then there's a health issue that could come with this purple one not having all of its pieces. And you know, I told you all, the science is my strong point, so I try to break this down in a way that I understand it in hopes of helping you understand it. Melanin is not just a skin thing, which I need to point that out too. Melanin is not just a skin thing. Melanin, just every time you look up melanin, the definition of melanin, you get pigments, and it only talks about skin, pigments and skin. That's not what melanin is. That's not what it's all about. It protects the skin because that's the biggest organ in our body. But dark skin is the effect of melanin. Dark skin is noting the presence of melanin. That's not the purpose of melanin. Here's one I just read to you. Melanin is an antioxidant. Melanin warding off the UV rays. Those are purposes for melanin. Now I'm going to show you where melanin is not just in your skin. Here we have, where did I get this from? OnlineLibraryWiley.com. I have the links. I try to put the links on everything. So if you need to look it up, you got it there to look it up. Internal melanin. Melanin is in the spleen, the liver, the kidney, the brain, pineal gland, inner ear, eye, lung, connective tissues, testes, choroid, heart, peritoneum, muscles, venom glands, tumors. That's a lot of places where melanin is. And when you look and you zoom in on this and you see what it does, one of the main things mentioned on them is it's an antioxidant. So melanin is in all these places. Among other things, it's protecting these areas from free radicals because it's there acting as an antioxidant. Melanin is the stuff. Melanin, that omnipresence should get you in a mindset of what melanin really is. This is not about a race thing, this other than the human race. And even if you don't have dark skin, you have some. And we need to start using what we have. We need to start making this world a better place, because I believe in my heart that melanin is our it's a super shield, and melanin is what's needed to help us subdue this earth, which is why we are taught so intently and so hard to not like it. So just something to think about. Think about it and stop underestimating melanin. If you can tan, you have it, and you should be trying to learn more about it. I love you. I appreciate you. And in all your decisions, decide to win. And I'll see you on the next leg of the journey. Hopefully, it'll be to talk about what changed, what caused the outward appearance of the different colors of skin. Until then, see ya.